All right, so looks like you're going to be governor, or maybe you're not, and you're just curious. Let's go through some of the pieces of being a governor so that you understand what the job pertains to. Maybe you'll say to your state that you want to be governor, or you'll tell them you don't want to be governor. Or if you've already been selected, congratulations. Good luck. You're going to need it. No, I'm only kidding. First of all, the easiest way to tell who the governor is go to the Capitol. Capitol building obviously is in the middle of your map. Zoom in on it, and it will tell you when you get very close who the governor is. As you can see, my name is in there at the end of Capitol. The governor is selected by the R5 of the alliance that wins the Capitol, or in our case, the R5 that is in charge of the Capitol afterwards. You go into this screen here, and you'll say, you go into governor, and you'll see over here on the left-hand side, right below the state name, it talks about who is the governor. There'll be a selection box there for the R5, and then go select whoever they want to be governor. Once that's done, then that person can come to this screen. This screen is like your command console. You have three basic types of governor-type things. One, you have the state board on the left-hand side, or let's say four different things, because the state board is basically just an announcement. Usually put in there is things like when the buffs will be activated and stuff like that, so anyone that comes in here can take a look at it. The next thing to note is that everything is rationed out based on governor credits. As you can see across the top of the screen, we have 24.11 million credits. Those are done through donations and that kind of stuff throughout the time of the state. State earns governor credits via in-game activity. Governor credits are blah, blah, blah for the mansion, so that you can limit the amount of use the governor has in doing things. There's a restriction on pretty much everything to keep the governor from going crazy. So there are three basic types of things the governor needs to give out. The first one is the fun one. Let's talk about packs in the bottom right-hand corner. Packs are things that you give out to those special people that did things during your SVS that you thought were above and beyond. There are three different types of packs. A support pack, which has some basic bio caps and some hero parts and that kind of stuff. These are kind of support packs, are kind of a thank you pack. Then you have a defender pack, which are usually given out to the people that you felt did a particularly good job defending your state and protecting you from the bad guys. And then last, you have the hero pack. There's one of these, and the one that you have, give it out to the right person, because you're only going to get it to do it once. Now, I said there's 1, there's 5, there's 15. If you are playing in your state, or you're playing in an opposing state and you win your state, you get one set. But if you win in your opponent's state, then you get your credits and their credits. Therefore, this would all be doubled. So let's say that we have SVS between us and state 2. We're state 1, they're state 2. If we go to state 2 after we've won prep, and we play in state 2 and we win, not only do we win our packs, but we win their packs. And so that would mean there would be double of each of these. If you lose or anything of that nature, or only play in your own state and win, or so on and so forth, you still only get your packs. So a majority of the time, especially in Capital Clash as opposed to SVS, in Capital Clash, where you're only playing within your own state, there's always only one set of these. So SVS is the only place you can win and get 2 sets of them, and that is playing in your opponent in somebody else's state and winning. Okay, that said, let's go back to the screen here. That takes care of packs. The second thing you want to look at is honors. Honors are basically buffs under the honors column, and then under marks are debuffs. These are pretty easily given out to different people. The easiest way to do something and to give a buff to someone, and let's do a debuff. Let's give out the worm to somebody. So if you go back to the map, somebody would send you a thing and say, hey, could you give this buff to this person or this debuff to this person? So if you were to click on somebody, and sorry, Slav, I'm going to give you a debuff, and you were to go into info, you'll notice there's a little governor button here, or a governor pack. You can give out packs by clicking on the pack button. As you can see here, it takes you to this page and lets you pick who you want to give the award, that you can award it to them. Or you can go into the governor button and it allows you to pick the honors or the marks. And so we want to give this guy the worm. So we would select it and we'd say confirm, and it would assign him to that. Now you see the countdown timer here of 24 hours. On the individual buffs, let me be very clear, there is a 24-hour cooldown no matter what you do. You issue it, you cannot issue it again for 24 hours. I don't care if you cancel it, I don't care if you made a mistake, none of that matters. If you've issued it, you cannot get it back, get rid of it, or issue it again for 24 hours, period, at the end. That applies to all marks and it applies to all honors. That means if you pick the wrong person and you issue it, leave it on them, because for the next 24 hours, you cannot change it to somebody else. Now, in a later video, I will go over how you can split buffs across days and stuff like that. And I'll give you some hints on how I keep track of who should get what buffs. But that's not important for the technicality of how it works. So how it works, you go back to you pick the base, go into the base, click the governor setting, either the governor for governor buffs or governor pack to give out packs, and then issue it. Once you do that, if you go into the settlement, if you were the person and you were in the settlement, let me reframe that. So in my case, if I go to my settlement and I have a buff, right here where it shows that I am, well, where did it go? Right here, where it shows that I am the governor, this would show whatever buff they've got. So if they've got the Patriot buff, or they've got the Worm buff, or whatever, then that would happen. That would show up there. Now, if you want to cancel a buff, you have to cancel a buff before you can reissue it. If you cancel it early, you cannot issue it early. So keep that in mind. So we issued the buff to Slav down here, and I'm going to get rid of these markings here so that we can see the buff on his thing. They're not showing up. Huh. Great. So if you wanted to cancel this buff, you would go into this this one. You would go into, and I'm going to play around here a little bit and see if I can do it without doing it. Come over here, and if I click on it, nope, I can't take it off that way. You're supposed to be able to see it. Let me see if I can get rid of some of these things so I can see the buff. And that's one. There we go. Got rid of all 6 of them. All right, so you can see he has the buff. Now, if I click on it, it gives me the option to remove it. So once I remove this buff, it's gone. But if I wanted to issue it again, and I do this because every governor makes this mistake. They issue one and then they say, oh, I can't reissue it. Or they try to give a half day to somebody and give the other half to somebody else. There is a way to do that, but it isn't from issuing it and then canceling it. So if I go back in here and I say, look, I want to give this guy this buff, there's no issue button. I can give him a different one because it's there. But this one's still under a cooldown, and you can see from this page where the cooldown still has 23 hours and 56 minutes. Now, I will give you a hint. When you're looking for time on the buffs, how much is left, who's got what time left, the only way to see it is to go in from a base and go into the governor thing here, and then you will see the timeout on the all the different ones. If you try to go in from the capital screen where we were before, you won't see the timeout. It just looks like they're there, and you don't know how long they've been there. You don't know when they were applied. You don't know anything about them, and it's very, very difficult to get any idea of what if you should cancel this from somebody or whatnot. So for the majority of the time, other than informational purposes, you want to go through a person's base in order to make them in order to be a little bit more accurate and have an idea of how long it's been running. So, quick thing about buffs. A, you issue a buff through their base. B, you cancel a buff through their base. C, a buff is activated and has a cooldown of 24 hours regardless of what you do with it. If you cancel the buff earlier, you can't issue it again, and it runs until you cancel it. That means that you can have a buff run for 18 or for 36 hours or for however long you think you want to do it. There's a third type, state buffs. State buffs are at the bottom of this list here. Like right now, I activated the troop treatment right after SVS. Everybody's got a lot of thing. State buffs have a 7-day cooldown. That means if you issue it at 7:01 p.m. on a Monday night, you will not be able to issue that buff again until 7:02 p.m. the next week's Monday night. There is no exception to that, no matter what you do and no matter how you do it. So if you're late for something, if you're issuing any of the buffs, and let's say you're issuing a buff every 24 hours and you issue it 5 minutes late one night, you are going to issue it late, 5 minutes late every single night, or even later if you're late or the next time. So that means don't take potty breaks, don't do anything else, be there on time, every time, all the time. Put that aside. To be honest with you, I always try to start about 5 minutes early and then use one or two of those minutes or 30 seconds of those minutes every single night. That way, everything is always a few minutes early. Nobody complains about things being early, especially if it's only 5 minutes. So that takes care of state buffs. There are a few other features here that you can do, like Rapid Finder, where you can find people, prison shackles, and forced evictions, and black market. I'll go over more of these in details in another video, but I wanted to get this one out because this is what you need to know in order to know if you want to be a governor and the basics of being a governor. And these are the things that are really important. We'll go over some of the other things in detail a little bit later. Good luck, and thanks for being the governor.